Good evening, and welcome to the public hearing for the Livingston Zoning Board of Adjustment. Today is December 10th, 2024. If you're an applicant for a D or use variance, you should be aware that such a variance can only be granted after showing that special reasons for the grant of the variance exist, and that variance can be granted without substantial detriment to the zoning plan of the Township of Livingston. Excuse me. You should also be aware that in order to be granted such a variance, you will require an affirmative vote of 5 members of the 7-member Board of Adjustment. Other variances require a majority of 4 members to grant that variance. If you're an applicant for any variance and your variance is denied by this board, you have a right to appeal to the Superior Court of the State of New Jersey within 45 days of notice of decision, and that court may overturn the decision of this board. If you are an objector to any type of variance that has been granted, you too may appeal to the Superior Court of the State of New Jersey within 45 days of notice of decision. If you do file an appeal, I ask that you please provide a copy of your complaint to the Planning Administrator, Jackie Hollis. Pursuant to the requirements of the Open Public Meeting Act, also known as the Sunshine Law, adequate notice of this meeting was provided to the Star Ledger and West Essex Tribune, and a copy was also posted on the bulletin board and municipal building. In addition to having notice posted, notice of this meeting was placed on the Township's website. Members of the public will have an opportunity to ask questions or to make statements regarding each application at the appropriate time. When the time comes, if you'd like to address the board, please come to the front and use a microphone so we make sure your comments or questions are part of the record. We will now call the roll. Ms. Khan?
Ms. Khan is here. Mr. Kenya?
Here.
Mr. Horn?
Here.
Mr. Shah?
Here.
Mr. Sherman?
Here.
Ms. Khanna?
Here.
Mr. Beer?
Here.
We have a quorum. And Mr. Valerio, our board attorney, is here. Ms. Hollis, the planning administrator, and Ms. Madry from the planning department are also here.
Thank you. Before we get going tonight, I need to address an item on behalf of this board. As many of you know, things got a bit out of control at our last meeting. Certainly that was not the intent of this board nor anyone who came before us, and on behalf of the board, I apologize. I chair this board holding myself and its member to high ethical standards and will continue to do so. It is important to note that there were several inconsistencies in the article published in the West Essex Tribune about our last meeting. To be clear, Ms. Durkin, who I believe is present tonight, did not criticize the board for keeping the application ongoing. She noted that the application had been around for 5 years between this board and the planning board, and there was just general frustration with all the numerous steps that the application had gone through. Throughout the process, it is recognized that Ms. Durkin was just doing her job. I'm trusting for all involved this is a one-off. There's a lot of tension in the world these days, and it spilled over 2 weeks ago, which I do not think anyone is proud of. Hopefully we can move forward and enjoy the holiday season. Thank you. Approval of the minutes. Second. Just get myself caught up here. Okay. Did everyone have a chance to review the minutes from our last meeting? Are there any questions? Would someone like to make a motion? Oh, yes.
We're going through the resolutions or just the minutes?
Just the minutes first.
Okay.
I'll make a motion.
Anybody second? I'll second.
Just all approved. Just all in favor. Read the roll. Okay. Okay. Ms. Khan votes yes. Mr. Kenya? Oh, wait, I'm sorry, I'm out of order.
No, I cannot vote.
What?
He was absent.
I wasn't there.
Oh, you weren't here? No, I'm just, oh, you weren't here. Okay. Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Beer?
Yes.
Ms. Khan votes yes. Mr. Horn?
Yes.
Mr. Shah?
Yes.
Ms. Khanna?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Hollis, are there any communications?
None, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Okay, memorialization of resolutions. We actually only have one that's prepared, which is for 35 Sycamore Avenue, Block 2602, Lot 29, and that was application number 2024-24-V. I believe there was a comment on that.
Yes, sir. Under Section C, as conditions of approval, .5, it currently says the stairs. to the attic spaces shall be restricted to only pull-down stairs. I believe that should read, the access to the attic spaces shall be only with pull-down stairs. So the only way to access both the two attic spaces should be, so just changing the wording from the stairs to the attic spaces, should be the access to the attic spaces.
Okay. Oh, I think you're right. All right, there's one more comment which was brought to my attention. There was one negative vote in the final certification, Ms. Hollis? On the certifications, right? We had a negative vote?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, there was only one dissenting vote.
Right. It says there was none. Both before my name and yours, Ms. Hollis. Okay. All right. And just to confirm, is there any member who has not read the resolution? Is there any member who has questions about, doesn't understand the resolution? With these corrections, is there any member who feels the resolution is not ready for a vote? Would anyone like to make a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Who seconded it?
Mr. Sherman.
Koch.
Ms. Khanna?
Yes.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Ms. Khan votes yes. Mr. Horn?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mr. Beer?
Yes.
Okay.
Ms. Hollis, I can swing by on Friday to sign this. Okay? Okay, I think we're ready to go. The first application, 42 Westmont Drive, is being adjourned, as well as the second one, which is 95 Vere Terrace, is being adjourned. So we're going on to number 3.
Mr. Chairman, for the record, that there are no further notices required for
Oh, yes,
those
yes.
two.
For those two
applications.
adjourned, no further
Yeah.
notice, correct. Thank
And
you.
they're both adjourned to January 28, 2025.
Yes.
Also,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman, can you also note that there are 3 additional resolutions listed on tonight's agenda, and those resolutions are not yet prepared, but will be memorialized at the January meeting.
At the January meeting, is okay? Okay. Thank you.
And before you move on, Mr. Chairman, if it would be appropriate to ask for an extension of time for the resolutions listed under old business, because it will be past the 45 days.
How do we ask that? We just ask? I haven't done that yet.
I think that we have representation on 14 Waterfall Drive and 47 Falcon Road. The attorney's here for that application.
Mr. Chairman, John Barber, on behalf of Falcon Road, to grant a 60-day extension. I'll give you plenty, only because you got holidays.
Yes.
Two major holidays.
appreciate that.
Two major religions coming up.
Yep.
I don't want you to have a problem. So we'll grant you a 60-day extension.
Thank you. We'll be ready for the next meeting. Thank you. Very much appreciated. Thank you, Ms. Hollis.
And I believe the attorney on 14 Waterfall Drive is also here, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Matthew Passam from the law firm Sills, Cummins & Gross, and I represent 14 Waterfall Drive LLC.
Would it be okay with you if we extended the resolution until our January 28th meeting?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. That's appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Okay, now we're ready.
We'll note, Member Marachi's here.
Oh,
She joined
I
the
didn't see you
meeting.
come in. Hi. Came in at, what, 7:38?
Okay. Block 2704, Lot 8, 6 Sparrow Drive, application number 2024-52-V, 6 Sparrow Drive LLC. Applicant seeks approval to construct a new single-family residence in violation of the following section: 170-87 CC3, habitable floor area ratio, 21% required, 23.01% proposed, 2.01% variance requested.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman.
Good evening.
Gentlemen of the board, John Barbarella. I hope you didn't forget me in the last 2 weeks.
You look familiar. Hold it.
This application.
By the, then I pick you up in the microphone. Yeah,
Okay?
yeah, please.
John Barbarella, appearing on behalf of the applicant. What we have done in the last 2 weeks is went over the 7 months of designing of this property, and we were able to reduce the size of the variance. We also made significant changes to the outside to try to bring it more in conforming with the surrounding areas. As a result, Mr. Chairman, I have an exhibit that I'd like to present and give it to your attorney to mark it as A1 with today's date.
Please do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Sadra, you are previously been sworn, please consider yourself sworn for this purposes. And since an hour ago, your license is still in good standing, and you are an architect in the state of New Jersey.
Correct.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the board, I'd like to offer, as he was prior, Mr. Sadra as an expert in architecture, and we can go over the exhibit.
Not having been here previously, just going to ask you, is this a new exhibit?
Mike,
That's, yes, it's a new exhibit, and that's why I indicated make it A1 with today's date.
There were no prior exhibits? in the
No
first
prior
one?
exhibits, everything was submitted as part of the package and was digitized and put up on the lovely television.
Thank you.
But today, we're going to not do quite YouTube it. We're going to go the old-fashioned method. Mr. Sadra, could you please give the board the benefit of the changes that we made in the plan in terms of the size of the FAR variance?
Sure. What we changed in the plan, we reduced the square footage, the livable square footage by 49 square feet. The original variance, we were applying for 23.01% of a floor area ratio. This one, after the reduction, we are applying for 22.69% floor area ratio. Also, I just want to explain the 1.69% increase, what it entails in the relationship to the square footage. The 1.69% is 258 square feet. That's all what we're asking for. And also, I would like to mention that the 258 includes a two-story open foyer, which it counted twice, and the area for the open foyer is 129 square feet. So technically, we're asking only for 129 square feet of increase toward the floor area ratio.
But Livingston has a very particular ordinance, because anytime you do a grand opening, both floors count, even though there's not a physical floor. As you've heard tonight, as you've already done at the 6 o'clock session, that is part of what we are presenting, because that's part of your ordinance. And you made changes to the exterior of the property, too.
Yes. The last meeting, we we decide to change the modern character of the building to something that can blend into this neighborhood. So we designed this now, which is the colonial style home with the stone base at the base of the building. We have stone also at the entrance and the foyer. We have a horizontal board, James Hardy, and we have a vertical board and batten on some of the walls at the second floor.
So based upon the comments of members of the board, members of the public, we brought this into more of the neighborhood,
Yeah.
colonial aspects that already exist in the neighborhood. Is that
Correct.
And are they the changes that are from our prior presentation?
Say again.
Are they all of the changes that from our prior presentation?
These are the changes, the square footage changes involves with the second floor. We reduced it by 50 square feet. The first floor didn't change much, but that's it. That's all the changes. Just the 49 square feet reduction and also the outside of the front facade.
So these changes we were able to do and keep with the 7 months of planning that we've done on this project.
Correct.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the board, I have no other questions for this witness, and I submit him to any questions that you may have.
Anybody on the board have any questions?
Not a question, but a comment. You know, I just want to say thank you, right? I think we had a long conversation about this last time with a number of the neighbors, and we really do appreciate you taking the communities and our feedback into account. I think this is a much improved design that goes with that area of town. So I just want to say on behalf of the board, thank you for taking our feedback into account.
Well, I thank you for your comments.
I do have a question.
Sure.
There is the staircase going to the basement. There's no intent of using the basement as a separate apartment or anything else, I assume.
This will not be a multifamily. You could put a restriction about multifamily in the resolution. It's
Thank you.
Not an issue.
I don't think it would
We
be. I just wanted to confirm.
we don't want anybody living in an attic, and we don't want to have a separate rental in the basement.
Funnier
And
things have happened.
as maybe a grandparent one day, I don't want to live in a basement either.
Does anybody in the public have any questions for this witness? Please come forward. This will be for questions. You can make a statement later if you want. Yes.
Good evening, round two. Thank you. I have a question regarding the basement. Has the basement changed?
Can we just have your name
I'm
first?
sorry, Evelyn DeMayo, 8 Sparrow Drive. We would be, I'm sorry, Evelyn? Yes. 8 Sparrow Drive. We're the neighbors to the left of the house. And again, my question is regarding the basement. Have any changes been made to the basement?
Not really. It's only the right side of the building. We had to bring it to the front a little bit.
Okay.
But that didn't affect the design of the basement, just the location of the room.
All right. I'll save my comments for later.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Okay. Does anyone in the public have any comments they want to make? Or statements? Come on back. I should have told you to just stay there, but you have to be sworn in now.
It's me again.
Wait, you have to be sworn in.
Absolutely. I'm sorry.
Raise your right hand. You swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Again, for the record, your name and...
Evelyn DeMayo, 8 Sparrow Drive.
Please.
Okay, I just wanted to echo the board's sentiments and thanks. I have to say I'm very pleasantly surprised with the changes that have been made. I think it really fits in much better with the neighborhood. So I just want to thank everybody. But I also wanted to state that I still do have concerns regarding the basement and regarding the water in the area, only because I've seen what.
Am I respond?
Feel free, of course.
My client is a very accomplished builder, both in here and in Paramus. And if he, doing a field condition, finds that there's a water problem, he wants us to ultimately sell this to get you a new neighbor. So I can tell you that my client will address any kind of issues. And that's one of the reasons that the municipality here insists that you do positive drainage. So we keep our fingers crossed, but I can tell you he will address it in a very professional manner.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. And again, thank you to the board, and thank you both for all of your work.
And thank you for participating. Do you have any closing statements you want to make?
Very, very briefly, because I'm still trying to recover from getting home at 1:30 the last time. We reduced the number of, the size of the variance. We responded to the public because, as you know, as I mentioned to you before, I represent 3 towns. One of the things you have to do, being on that side, is have eyes and ears and to listen to what the community wants. Because although we don't typically say in Cox that you care about exactly what a comment is of the public, you live here and you have to make a decision and bring your expertise as members. We have reduced the variances. Nick gave you the balancing, the positive and negative, and he gave you the exact statutory reference to why you have the power to grant this. Additionally, when you talk about the aesthetics, and you also talk about what this neighbor is most concerned with, the runoff, the drainage, the municipality requires when you're doing new construction to take care of those issues. And this is a builder who's building to redevelop many different areas in the Livingston, and he's going to make a positive change here. Everybody has somewhat of a reluctance to change. And of course, this is the first one in this particular neighborhood. But I believe that we've given you the statutory requirements that are through our planner. We've given you the expert engineering and planning of the architect. And we have been responsive to the needs and the requests. And we've reduced the variance as much as we can to still be in keeping with the 8 months that were put into this particular project. So I said I would be brief. I think I'm not too many over my words, but I'd like to thank you for your attention. And one thing I would like to say, I believe, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make one comment about your statement about what happened last time. I want to say that as a chairperson of a board, I want to commend you on how you handled that under a very difficult circumstance. So I would like to thank you all, and I would ask that you approve this project. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Would anyone like to make a motion?
Well, for all the reasons that Mr. Horn cited, and for your patience, I truly thank you on behalf of the board for listening to us, for taking the neighborhood in your thoughts and understanding, creating something which fits better, which sits better in that neighborhood, and doing it in such a quick turnaround, in 2 weeks. I truly appreciate that. Truly appreciate your patience and paying heed, really. And for all that, there's no reason to hold off this application. I make a motion to approve.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
So Mr. Kenya wasn't here 2 weeks ago, so you can't vote on it, I don't
I'll
think.
skip.
Right, okay.
Unless you read transcripts or
Yeah, okay. Did
watch
you
the
read the
video.
Ms. Khanna
Yes.
and Mr. Shah.
Yes.
Ms. Khan votes yes. Mr. Horn,
Yes.
Ms. Marachi,
Yes.
and Mr. Sherman,
Yes.
and Mr. Beer.
Yes.
Motion
All right,
carries.
Thank you all. I hope you have a very wonderful holiday,
Same to
whichever
you.
one you'd like to celebrate. I like to celebrate them both.
The more the merrier, right?
Oh, well, I'm 3% Osakanowski, so
There you go.
I said, you know, after I did my DNA, I got to celebrate them all.
You're a tribe member.
I will see you early, hopefully February.
Thank you. You done for the day?
He's done, he's got to go home.
All right. We're fun. All right, next.
Okay. Block 2905, Lot 42, 17 Hampton Terrace, application number 2024-48-V, Gaurav Srivastava and Joy T. Sinha. Applicant seeks approval for a second-floor addition in violation of the following section: 170-98C2, front yard setback, 50 feet required, 36.4 feet proposed, 13.6 feet variance requested.
Hi there, how are you? Well, hi there, how are you? You're still good. You're here by yourself?
Self, my architect could not make here, but
Hold on one second. One moment. Mike.
If you're ready, you can swear you in. Raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony given this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
yes, I do.
Give us your full name, sir. and last
Gaurav
name.
Srivastava,
And last name spelled for the record?
Srivastava.
One housekeeping matter. It looks like on your application, on the declaration page, you checked off that you were applying for a D variance, but your actual application says you're applying for a C2 variance. So do you want to amend your application to correct that?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, tell us why you're here and fill us in.
Yeah, so my architect could not be here, but he can join us later in the meeting, and if I'm not able to answer your questions, maybe he can. So I'm here for a variance because I'm trying to build up my house. And the front yard setback in our zone R3, which is the zone of my house, needs to be between 40 and 50 feet. Currently, as my house is built, that front yard setback is at 36.4 feet. So I'm requesting a variance that front yard setback stay at 36.4 and I'm able to build up my house.
Can you describe the changes you're making to the house for us?
So we are doing a second floor addition on top of my, so it's a split house. On top of the living room, we are doing a second floor addition.
Are you expanding the house to either side or to the front of the
We are
back?
expanding the house to the back of the house.
And by how much is that?
Like in terms of like feet further that we are going. So we are going close to 25 feet, I guess.
His own chart says everything's fine. Yeah. But I'm just trying to figure this out. That's why I was asking. So you're building over the existing house, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the variance I'm requesting is for the front yard setback.
Right. So it's an existing non-conforming condition.
Existing one,
Correct?
yes.
Okay.
Is the addition within the footprint of the existing building? Or are you extending it over the footprint?
So yes, we are
further-
going further
Further
back.
out?
not going around, going back,
In which direction? To the back?
back of the house.
So there is no other variance, there's no area, ratio, side? It's only the front yard, which is existing
Yes.
non-conforming?
Yes.
Yeah, please.
So according to the plans here, right, if I'm reading this correctly, it says minimum rear yard setback is 40, you're staying within that 40, is that correct?
Yes.
Build a hammer, okay.
It's a front yard setback that's existing, non-conforming, 36.4.
There's for the front yard setback, 'cause he stays with it.
So it looks like you're not going out over the footprint, according to the plans. It looks like you're just building straight up.
Yes.
Okay.
And the reason we want to build straight up because all the other houses on my street are built straight up. Otherwise, I'll have to go 5 feet back, I think. So that will not look good. And if I go 5 feet back on the second floor, I think I'll have to extend it in further 5 feet back. And then I'll have to build more, so it will be more costly. So,
Right, so you're just going up.
yeah, just going up.
Okay, just the one existing setback.
Yes.
And just for the record, so you're staying under the habitable floor area, and you're staying under the habitable floor area ratio?
Yes, yes, yeah, of course.
Right.
I have one question.
Please.
So I know you said you're not extending in the front, but I noticed the design on the left side of the house has the windows boxed out in the front past the normal front facade. Are you saying that that doesn't extend out any further than the current bay window that you have in the front of the house today?
Yes. So it's basically we have a bay window. So we will have a similar bay window at the second floor.
Okay.
And the attic is not usable, right?
No,
To be building?
no.
Okay.
What's the bump out of the windows, the bay window? Do you know?
I don't know exactly, but maybe I can find out here. I don't know actually, frankly.
You could say it's a standard window?
It's a standard window and it will be similar to.
Nothing special, right?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, on the plans, it looks to be about the same.
Does anybody else on the board have any questions? Does anybody in the public have any questions? Does anybody in the public want to make a statement? Anybody on the board want to make a statement? Does anybody on the board want to make a motion?
Anybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's doing the last one. She doesn't know that yet. No, no one did.
We haven't made that. So, Mr. Srivastava, if you're not asking for any other variance except the front yard, which is existing non-conforming. You're building up and back.
Yes.
And even the bump out of the window is existing, and you are
Yes.
just going to have a similar window on the second
Yes.
floor.
Yes.
And I've been on your street as I went to check the property, and I see that the houses in your neighborhood are redeveloped and bigger than your
Yes.
property. So I think it's a very modest improvement and compliant, except the existing nonconformities. And for that reason, I make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Okay, Ms. Khanna?
Yes.
Mr. Kenya?
Yes.
Ms. Khan votes yes. Mr. Horn?
Yes?
Mr. Shah?
Yes.
Ms. Marachi?
Yes.
And Mr. Beer?
Yes,
Thank you.
you're all set.
Thank you, sir.
Block 500, Lot 21, 6 Rock Hill Drive, application number 2024-60-V, Chad and Robin Doria. Applicant seeks approval for a pool and fence in violation of the following sections: 170-96A8, swimming pool, 20 feet required, 28.3 feet proposed, 21.7 feet variance requested, 170-91B2B, corner lot, front side yard fence height, 4 feet required, 5 feet proposed, 1 foot variance requested.
Good evening.
Hi,
How are you?
good, how are you?
Good.
for seeing us.
I assume you're Chad and Robin?
Yes.
Okay.
My name is,
Oh, wait.
do you want me to start?
I'm going to turn you over to the lawyer for a moment.
I'll swear you in, then you can give us your correct name.
Okay.
Okay. You can both raise your right hand at the same time. You swear the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. Individually, give us your full name. and
Robin
spell your last
Doria.
name.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Chad Doria?
Chad Doria.
Yes, I got it. And you're Miss,
Robin Doria.
okay.
Okay, fill us in a little bit.
Okay. My name is Robin Doria, and together with my husband Chad, we live at 6 Rock Hill Drive with our 2 children who are 13 and 10. We're here today with our engineer, Jeff Ajarian, and our neighbor is coming in support with us today, but he's on his way.
Okay.
So that's Phil Crystal, who is right across from our property. We're here respectfully to request a variance to allow for the installation of a swimming pool on our property. We believe that having a pool would significantly improve our family's quality of life, providing us with space for recreation, relaxation, and connection. We have carefully reviewed all the possible locations for the pool on our property. However, due to the unique nature of our corner lot, the situation is more complicated than it would be on a typical lot. And because of this, we're requesting a variance for the following reasons, more of which our engineer will get into the technical details of that. But some of the challenges that we face, that we were requesting this for, are because this seems to be the most practical location while minimizing the impact on our neighbors and the surrounding environment. We are committed to ensuring that our pool will not negatively impact the community. And over the years, we've made efforts to preserve the privacy of both our family and our neighbors, including planting of a row of green giants, which completely surrounds our property. Thank you very much for your time and consideration on our request.
Okay.
Swear me in, I'll give my testimony.
He's a little more professional.
You did great.
Fantastic.
She sounded like a lawyer.
Not quite.
All right, sir, would you raise your right hand? You swear the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, give us your full name and spell your last name.
Sure, it's Jeff Egarian, Egarian. My business address is 271 Route 46, Fairfield, New Jersey. I am a licensed professional engineer. My license is in good standing, and I have testified before this board in the past.
Can you just remind us of your education, please?
Sure, I'm a graduate of New Jersey Institute of Technology, 2006, licensed in 2012.
Does anyone on this board have any questions or objections regarding this witness? There being no objection, the witness is accepted as an expert in engineering.
Okay, great, thank you. So behind me is just our photo exhibit that we prepared for tonight. Again, it just is a copy of our site plan with some photographs for, just for ease of identification. I'll quickly go through the existing conditions of the property. The lot area is 20,961 square feet. It is a corner lot situated on the corner of Rock Hill Drive and Stoneham Drive. It's occupied by a single-family dwelling, driveway, walkways, patios, and similar appurtenances. The front and rear yard consists of dense lawn areas. The rear yard and Stoneham frontage are heavily screened by a thick row of arborvitae, essentially being completely screened from the adjacent properties and from the street. The topography of the lot slopes from east to west across the lot with an approximate change of grade of 8 feet. What we are doing is proposing a 16 by 38, a modest-sized in-ground swimming pool, pool patio, pool filter equipment pad, retaining walls, and I was going to say filter screen, but we decided, the homeowners and myself, while discussing the back, we are going to remove the need for the variance for the fence around the pool filter, which required a variance for front and side yard. So we would like to eliminate that from our application. I have the denial letter is in my bag if you need me to read it off to you.
So then you're just coming for the swimming pool setback?
Correct, just the front yard setback variance for the swimming pool. So yes, those other two variances we would like to, we're going to remove that screening around the filter. So we are requesting relief from the front yard setback with respect to the swimming pool where 60 feet is required, and we are proposing 28.3 feet. The pool conforms to the rear and side yard setback requirements. There's an, let me just see, excuse me, I still have testimony here about the fence. So from a design perspective, the pool in this location works best for the property and for the lot. Okay, sorry. For the lot, because what it does is it will be the least amount of disturbance on the property. The pool and patio, it's going to require minimal grading in this location. It'll require a small retaining wall, 2 feet and less, to allow for the construction of the pool and the patio. The patio will function as desired and provide access to the existing paver patio and outdoor kitchen and pavilion area on the same rear yard area. No trees are proposed to be removed as a result of this project. The stormwater will be managed in accordance with the township standards. On the site plan, we do have several catch basins in and around the proposed pool and pool patio area, which will then capture and route all the stormwater to the catch basin on Rock Hill Drive. If anybody needs to see that, I could bring up the actual site plan to show you that. So certainly, as a result of this project and as a result of the increased impervious area, there will be a net benefit for stormwater management on this property due to these measures that we are proposing as far as catch basins and routing the stormwater away. And again, the arborvitae screen, which is substantial, will completely screen the entire front yard and rear area. This screen will be maintained. That's what is there. It's what it's desired to be there for. There will be no visual impact from on the pool or the pool patio from the street or from the adjacent properties. The photographs, which I will just scroll over here so everyone can get a clear look at the color photographs.
You see them, we can't. Hold on one second. It's gone 4 times resetting.
Interesting. Okay, well, actually, I have a handout. I have 11 by 17.
Okay,
That would help.
that'd be great. If you can mark that A1. And please give a copy to Ms. Hollis.
Perfect timing. If anybody wants a hard copy.
Why don't we just, yeah, just in case we're having technical difficulties. So, thank you.
Just since you want to show pictures.
Okay.
Perfect time.
Always got to give the boss.
So one thing the homeowners did know is they did take great care in deciding where to put this pool. And the one thing I wanted to point out are in photographs G and H, because on the plan, let me just show you here quickly. There is a substantially large tree on the adjacent property right here, this 36-inch tree, which casts a very big shadow over the backyard and prohibits sun. So in image H, which is directly adjacent, which shows this area right here, you can see the entire area shaded. In image G, which is the front yard area where the pool's gonna go, you can see where all the sun is. So the tree is causing a bit of a hardship with respect to sun, if that is a hardship, but it's there. Not to mention the tree also, in conversation, deposits a lot of debris, leaves, sticks on the property, which would end up in the pool. again, which is all considered when we were deciding to put the pool in this location. So the pool in this location too, like I said, it minimizes disturbance. If we were to push it into the most western corner of the property in a conforming location, the existing paver patio, the masonry outdoor kitchen would all have to be modified and relocated. Substantial amount of soil movement would need to be done to level that western part of the property. We're talking retaining walls in excess of 4 feet, just to bring in all that dirt and level that area to have a patio and pool that match the existing patio. So from a disturbance perspective, the pool in this location works best. And that is my testimony. I'll take any questions.
I have a question. No, I mean, I get it, I think it's thoughtful. If I read this correctly, the entire property today is screened by these large arborvitaes. So I assume, reading off of this, I assume a degree of those will need to be taken out for the construction to occur and then be put back, is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Thank you.
Just clarification on the fence. Are you
Yes.
saying both fences or?
So we were proposing initially a small fence here around to screen the filter equipment.
That was the other fence?
That was the other fence that required the variance.
So the pool fence is still
The-
on here at 5 feet, asking for the 5 foot?
This is an existing fence. We were only requesting
Okay.
variance for the.
I gotcha, okay.
Which was a design feature that the designer sold them on. It was a 5-foot aluminum, modern looking shielding fence, but they decided it wasn't necessary.
Okay.
And the existing fencing is adequate to protect for a swimming pool, right?
It will be pool compliant. I don't believe the chain link fence in the rear has a 2-inch, so it's just gonna have to be modified to have the non-climbing fence. But the fence will stay in its location and it will be conforming to the International Swimming Pool Code.
Anybody else have any questions?
So this little box here it's pool machinery?
This one here?
Yeah,
That's the filter pad, yes.
and there is a neighbor behind, on that side of the property, right?
There's a neighbor, yes, a house there.
Is it possible to move the machinery on the other side of the pool? Or this,
On this side here?
yeah?
It can, I mean, there is, anything can
I'm
happen.
just-
Yeah, this is the application, this is the design that we're proposing tonight.
Right.
The filter pad itself, these things are, a variable frequency drive pumps. They're not as noisy as everyone thinks they are, or as the history tells us that they are. I don't see it being a nuisance, especially with as thick of a screen as that is, that can shield and
The
dampen any
green,
noise.
the green screen is absolutely impressive.
Yes, it
I
is
drove
impressive.
past, it's super, great job with the green. Yeah, I looked at the fence and I was thinking, why do you need a new, the fence is great also, the current existing fence. It's black and,
Yes.
yeah, that's my only thing.
I have a question. Just really clarification, I think more than a question. On the agenda, the application reads, for the swimming pool, 20 feet required, but it's really 50 feet required, correct? Because on the actual application, it's 50 feet.
Oh, if that's
Okay, so we're
what
just
the application, yes,
Okay, so that, we're just going to change that, because on the agenda it says 20 feet, but we're looking at 50 feet as required.
correct, yes,
Okay.
front yard setback.
Okay.
Does anybody in the public have any questions for this witness? Does anybody in the public want to make any statements regarding this application? They didn't make any. Does anybody on the board want to make any statements?
I just wanted to say I really appreciate the consideration that you gave your neighbors. I think the hedging is very impressive.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
It took
I think it looks great.
8 years to get them this high.
I'm sure.
I've never received so many compliments on something.
You should,
It's like I birthed them.
you should come here every meeting then.
Chad said before that you actually do all the hedge cutting, right?
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
for
especially
sure.
up top. Would anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Mr. Horn?
Approved?
Ms. Marachi?
Yes.
Ms. Khan votes yes. Mr. Kenya?
Yes.
Mr. Shah?
Yes.
Ms. Khanna?
Yes.
And Mr. Beer?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Keep it rolling.
Okay. Block 301, Lot 38, 30 Cliffside Drive, application number 2024-63-V, Abhishek Kohli. Applicant seeks approval for a second-floor addition in violation of the following sections: 170-87BB2, habitable floor area, 4,870 square feet required, 5,513 square feet proposed, 643 square feet variance requested.
No, I just want this. Can I do something? Yes, absolutely. All right, how do I do that?
A flash drive insert should be over here.
Okay. And there I am. No, there I am.
Yeah, that's the.
Okay. How are you?
Good. Yeah.
I'll turn you over to our attorney for a second.
Are you both going to testify?
Yes.
Okay, raise your right hand. You swear the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Separately, give us your full name for the record.
Roma Bajaj.
Abhishek Kohli.
I'm sorry, ma'am, I didn't get your name.
Roma Bajaj.
Can you spell your last name?
Bajaj.
Okay, thank you. And sir, are you going to testify?
Me?
Are you there ready to testify?
Thomas Singer, architect.
All right, raise your right hand. You swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
Okay, give us your full name and spell your last name for the record.
Thomas Singer, Singer.
Mr. Singer, can you tell us your education and your licensing and all that stuff?
Graduate of the University of Pennsylvania, 1982 and 85. The 85 was a master's degree in architecture. Been licensed in New Jersey since 1988. I also have a professional planner's license in New Jersey since 2012.
And your licenses are
In
current
good
and in good standing?
Yes, they are.
Does anyone on the board have any questions or objections regarding this witness? There be no objections, the witness is accepted as an expert in architecture.
Thank you.
Okay, the show is yours.
Okay. Good evening, esteemed members of the Planning Board and Chairman. My name is Roma Bajaj, and I am here along with my husband to present a vision for constructing a dream home into a space that truly meets our family's needs. Primary reason for this reconstruction is the shortage of space in our current layout. Our 14-year-old son and 11-year-old daughter share a bathroom. As they grow, it's becoming increasingly difficult for them to have the comfort and privacy they need. Additionally, our bedroom lacks a master closet, which has meant I have to go downstairs to change every day. These are practical issues that we've lived with, but we now feel it's the right time to address them. Before our children eventually leave the nest, we want to provide them with a home where they can spend these formative years with us in comfort, and where we as a family can enjoy more spacious and functional environment. This reconstruction is not just a want, but a necessity that will greatly enhance our lifestyle and provide the space we've long needed. We work closely with our architect to design a home that aligns with both our needs and the character of the community. I kindly ask you to listen to our architect's presentation, which will give you the details of our plan, and we are happy to address any questions. We sincerely hope you will consider approving our design and allow us to bring this vision to life. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Okay.
Okay. So this is 38 on Block 301, Lot 38, also known as 30 Cliffside Drive. It's at the top of Cliffside Drive, which is a fairly steep hill, and it's sort of towards the bottom of North Hillside Avenue. So it's sloping both north and east of the adjacent streets. We do have a correction to make. The habitable floor area that we were pursuing, the variance, the D4 variance, was 5,513 square feet. After more careful measurements, it's 5,397. So it's a little smaller than we started, but it should be noted that it's actually going to be lower than that. It's a bi-level house. The lowest level is a basement. It meets the definition of a basement. It's below grade at least one point. It's actually the whole front of the house, which would, in other circumstances, make it a one-story house. In fact, bi-levels originally were called raised ranches. It's a concrete ground floor, and once we add the second floor, our intention is to add a second floor to the main portion of the house and the above the garage. The garage is this side. That's the main portion of the house. And there's a two-level deck in the back that's going to be leveled off. A little bit about the property. There are some steep slopes. They're mostly up here, and some coming sideways here, and there's a drainage swale here and a berm that protects the neighbors. So it's pretty well drained. The driveway takes up a lot of the back. And this is coming in close to level. And then in the grade keeps increasing along here, up the back, and this whole area is 9 feet below ground level. So we are up a little bit. So currently, we have a basement level, which is counted as the first floor of 2240. Second floor, that's 1521, for a total of 3,315 square feet, which is well below the 4,870 that's allowable. We're proposing a 287-foot first floor and 1,516 square foot second floor. And the basement is still counted in at 2244, which is how we get to the 5397. However, after this is built, the house will be a two-story house with a basement, by all measures, which means the basement will come out, and that'll be a 3,603 square foot house, which is well below the 4,870 square feet we're asking for. No, just see if you can tab it down. Keep it down more. It looks a little frozen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just use the arrow.
Thanks. The house itself, currently, this is the proposed basement. It did have a small storage area in here for yard equipment. But this whole area is gonna be revised to this. So there's a family room that's going in above the garage. Other than that, it's the same square footage as the existing second floor, except for 2 bay windows and a little bit of an overhang towards the back. The second floor has 3 bedrooms with en-suites, a master bath, and some closets. The exterior, this is the exterior of the building. I'm going to go into more detail a little bit later, but actually I'm going to go in now. These are habitable floor areas. Just to repeat, that's the existing basement going to a basement, the first floor going to ground floor, and a new upper floor. The attic at its peak is 6'10". That translates to 82 square feet below the 6'10" level, and that's well under the 1,500 square feet of the floor below. So it's nothing.
Mr. Singer, if you don't mind, use the microphone for me.
Okay. And again, the ultimate square footage ends up being 10% of the habitable floor area ratio and 3,603 square feet.
Just another point here, just for the board members. So the proposed in the last table, I think, goes higher for the variance. That's why we are requesting the variance. But the way after the house is built, when it is considered the basement, then we will be conforming. That was the point which he was trying to make.
So this just, okay, done. So this floor just, this drawing just describes the exclusions. The 2-story family room is under the limits, 10 feet at the edges, so that's considered just part of the ground floor. However, the foyer, which is 2 stories high here, is counted twice. So that's where we are with area. Now height. This is it's a unique site and a unique condition because the grade line comes down to the garage and then it ends up going back up. So on the low side of the house, it's actually higher than the high side of the hill. So because those are low and because the back of the house is more articulate than the front, there are 9 spot elevations that were used to determine the height. Right here, actually. So There are nine height calculations that we use to get the proposed peak, which is 3483. However, we are putting something in front that changes grades a little bit, which gets about 7 inches less than the 34. Yes. Now, of those 9 points,
Mr. Kohli, you could remove the microphone and give it to him in his hand.
oh, okay. All right. I got it. Of the 9 points, 3 of them are at the front of the house, and 6 of them are in the back. So the back, which is the lowest part of the site, the back, which is the lowest part of the site, gets all the weight, while the 3 points in the front only get a little bit. And as a result of that, if you just took the 3 points in front, the overall height of the building would be 33 square feet, or with the landscaping, we're proposing 31.43. The overall slope of the site is that straight line going down is a 10% grade between the front and the back of the site. If you were to extrapolate that line, it would end up being about 31.6 feet tall relative to natural grade before anything was built in the 1940s. The work we're doing in front, currently, this is the elevation of the front stoop and the front step. We are slightly increasing the grade here to 5%, using some structured walls to get up halfway the stairs to the first floor. So you'll be entering at the first floor. Grade is right here. That's fill underneath the stair, but this will be the final grade. There's a 16-inch seat right here, and a 1.1 foot 2 drop to the garden. That's just an enlargement.
In the interest of the time, I think there are other hearings also planned. I'll just request, so essentially the variance requested is for use, for the square foot. The plans, which are already presented to the board members, elaborate out what we are doing. Are we converting the bi-level house, the ground floor being the basement, and adding a new floor on the top, which will give us 3 ensuite rooms. The overall square foot, if you count including the basement that has been provided, that's about 5,300 square feet. But if we count after the house is constructed, if we count the ground floor as the basement, it'll be conforming at 3,800 square feet.
That was my question, actually. What is the style of the house? So you said it's a bi-level, and after it's redeveloped, it will be
a colonial.
It will be a colonial.
Colonial.
So the 2240 that you said is the basement area that it's being counted right now.
Right.
Will be basement then. So then it'll be conforming.
Correct,
Yes.
correct.
Okay.
So what we were told, I think the denial was that because it will be non-conforming while it being constructed, that's why we have to apply for the variance, for the use variance. And there are no setbacks. The plot size is pretty big across, and we have ample space around all the 3-sided. It's a corner house.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Why were we talking about the 2240 basement? Because, okay, that clarifies a lot. And my second question is about the height in the back, the rear height, which is 36 point something?
No, so that's what the,
Well, yes. There are two sets of dimensions. One is the maximum height, which is from the lowest point around the perimeter of the house to the peak. It's not an average. It's not based on the average grade. It's a different criteria that doesn't
But the
correspond to the code.
The height is not the question of variance here at all.
The height is not a question of variance. We've just been told somebody might like to hear about it.
Yeah, so I think the height comes into question because the topology of the plot is not flat. So when
Yes.
you're doing the measurements, you will have much more height if you're looking from the back of the house versus the front of the house. The house sits like this on the sloping hill.
I
And that's
noticed.
why. So I think Tom felt it right to just call it out, but it's not part of the variance. It's still, if you look around the neighborhood, even after construction, the house will still be under 36 feet, which is the maximum height allowed.
Yeah,
One more question. Access to the attic space is done how?
Pull down stair
Okay, and the height of the attic space?
is 6'11" to the underside of the ridge.
So it's not inhabitable.
Yeah, and so there's
You-
80
Yeah.
feet of space that could be considered 6'6" or below.
Okay, thank you.
After that, it's constructed, nobody would want to go to attic, right? The kids will never.
It is a standard question we ask
Yeah.
everyone.
No, thank you.
Can go a little further with,
No, I think that's fine. I think there are others, if there are other questions.
okay.
Any questions? What do you got?
I guess my only question is, I know that we're calling this a basement after the fact, but I mean, legally, is it a basement after the fact? I mean, it's still an above ground level. It's not.
Go ahead.
According to the ordinance, basements and walkout basements are not usually counted in measuring the floor area. But I don't know the reasons why the building officer decided it should be included here.
I mean, that's why I'm confused, because otherwise I would think they would just have accepted it. You're building according to the plans, and if the plans make it a basement, then it would be a basement. But obviously, they don't think it's a basement.
He's not here, so we can't get an answer.
But based on the size of the lot, right, it's almost as if you're an R1 size lot, which even if you included it, if it was an R1 lot, it would still be within the habitable square footage.
Right, that's what we thought, right? Like when we first started planning this out, we were trying to just expand on top of the garage. And then we took almost a year, and our friends who have been part of the town, they said, you have such a big lot, why are you just trying to do this, just go one floor higher. We are not increasing the footprint of the house. None of the boundaries are going ahead even by a single foot. We are just building one floor on the top. And so another primary reason why we are doing this is the basement, which is now currently the bi-level of this home, still has good foundation. So we build on top of it rather than demolishing completely, and then we'll definitely save a few $100,000 by redeveloping the house versus going to a builder and saying that, okay, just get it done. So that was the reason it took us almost a year to just design this thing.
And the floor area request is now not 643, but 527?
Correct, yeah.
Let me verify that.
It's 5397, the new proposed square footage, right?
Right, well, at the end of the day, 3605, the request is 5,397, yes,
Thank you.
which is 15% of habitable floor area ratio.
Does anybody else on the board have any questions? Does anybody in the public have any questions for this witness? Does anybody in the public want to make a statement regarding this application? Does anybody on the board want to make any statement regarding this application? Would anybody like to make a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Mr. Horn?
Approved.
Ms. Khanna?
Yes.
Ms. Khanna, you were the one who seconded it, I just want to make sure, yes?
Yes.
You seconded it. Okay. Ms. Khan votes yes. Mr. Kenya?
Yes.
Mr. Shah?
Yes.
Ms. Marachi?
Yes.
And Mr. Beer?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Keep it rolling.
Okay, Block 1508, Lot 10, 11 Maplewood Drive, application number 2024-61-V, Sal Bilgin. Applicant seeks approval for a first and second floor addition in violation of the following sections: 170-99C2 front yard setback, 40 feet required, 35.73 feet proposed, existing, 4.27 variance requested. 170-99C3 left side yard setback, 10 feet required, 7.61 feet proposed existing, 2.39 feet variance requested. 170-87CC4 habitable floor area ratio, 30% required, 35.5% proposed, 5.5% variance requested.
Welcome aboard.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are you?
Good, how are you?
So far, so good. My name is...
Hold on. Okay, sure.
Okay, Mr. Belgian?
Yes,
Raise your
sir.
right hand.
Yeah.
You swear the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
All right, give us your full name and you can spell the last name for the record.
It's Sal, S-A-L-I-H. Last name is Bilgin, B-I-L-G-I-N. I've been residing in Livingston since 2008, and I own the property since 2010 with my beloved wife. And we live over here with my two daughters, one of which is in Boston in Bentley University right now, and my wife is currently in treatment in Europe for whatever. It's, you know, like every lady is dealing with the same problem nowadays, unfortunately, but we had time to put together our heads to redesign our house and, you know, make it even lovelier, because we put our effort all these years to make it a great home, and we wanted to make it even better. So past year with Mr. William Figder, we put again our heads to make it a more lively living space for ourselves, and more inhabitable space for our family, because the current space is, you know, I don't know how we ever survived with one bathroom, with 3 ladies in the house. I don't know how I survived. There were some days I ran to Starbucks, I remember, because I got the short stick always with 3 ladies. Hopefully, in the new design, I will have more opportunity, freedom to myself. You know, I got old. I cannot run Starbucks anymore.
I just need to know which one is your bathroom in this house.
Downstairs, because upstairs, all the ladies. Of course, downstairs. There is the powder room is my bathroom. So, you know, you always get the short stick. When there are 3 ladies, and when you are a happily married man for all these years, it means you know how to follow orders. And I know how to follow orders.
That's why you're happily married.
Yeah. So to cut it short, I'm going to leave it to the expert. He knows, because he was so patient to follow 3 directions, 3 ladies asking this, asking that. I just shut up, followed them, and they come up with a wonderful design. You know, I am only a network engineer. I know what to do with the electronics part of things, which I haven't even started doing it yet. Bill.
Okay, let's swear you in.
Okay, raise your right hand. You swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Please give us your full name and spell your last name for the record.
William Figdor, Figdor.
Are you appearing as an expert?
Yes,
Okay.
architect.
You want to,
Yes, can you please provide us your education and some background?
I've actually been in this, here for variances on previous occasions. I can't remember the last time, but it was before the pandemic. So I went, first I got a degree at the University of Miami, and then I got a degree at Boston Architectural College in architecture. And my father built houses, designed and built contemporary homes, so I grew up with it. What else did you
Licensed in the
need?
state of New Jersey?
I'm
You're
registered in New
licensed
Jersey
current and
for
good standing?
24 years, 25 years.
And it's current and in good standing?
Yes.
Does anyone on this board have any questions, objections regarding this witness?
I'm an architect, yes.
There being no objections, the witness is accepted as expert in architecture. Please proceed.
Okay, so first of all, we had one unclaimed letter for the certified mailings. I don't know if you need that.
Jackie, do we need that?
Okay, so the front yard setback is the first thing I'm going to just bring up. The existing, along with the adjacent properties, meets the existing house is at 30. I included a chart for the adjacent setback study. Did you receive that in your package? We had an engineer survey the adjacent properties. So it's required to be 40 feet, and the adjacencies, the average adjacent setback is 34.82. Are we what? Amending it?
are you amending, your architectural plans has 35.73?
Yeah, that's what it is now, and that's what it will be. It's existing and proposed. And it meets the adjacent setback requirements. The second thing is let's see which one should do it. I'm looking at the wrong sheet, sorry. Is the side yard setback on the left side of the rear of the garage, which I'll just use this as a pointer.
Please, please use a mic.
Microphone.
We want to make sure everything is recorded properly.
Hello? Okay. So the back corner of the garage is existing, non-conforming. It will be, we're putting on a second floor over the garage and in the back as well. This is a first and second floor addition. This is a second floor addition. We're expanding the garage, so we're setting back actually the front setback a little bit to create more of a two-car garage. The back corner on the second floor is actually a balcony. It's an open space, but for structural and visual reasons, even though it's unenclosed, it needs a variance because of the roof. If we didn't put a roof on it, it wouldn't need a variance because the addition would be literally in that back corner. So we're requesting that little corner for the addition. And finally, the habitable floor area is required to be 30%, and it's allowed to be 3,200 square feet, 3,220, but right now it's required to be 30%, and we're at 35.5%. So we're requesting a variance of 5.5% over, which is still under the 3,200 square feet, similar to a previous applicant tonight. So those are the three applications, the three requirements.
Question, so the total square footage of the new home is 2683. Am I reading that correctly?
Yeah, let me go to the chart. Yes, 2683.5.
Okay, thank you.
For some of these variances, can you describe the hardship for us that you're up against and
Okay, well,
why?
this is an existing cape, so it's a 1.5-story house with a single car. They've been living it for 15 years, is that right, Sal?
Yeah, since 2008.
Right, and they're still continuing to live in it. One of their daughters is going to be in the upstairs room. Right now, she's in the attic, but she'll have her own room in this corner, the corner of that little corner of the garage, the upstairs.
We created a suite for her. That's what she wanted, the balcony.
And then that's her favorite part, the balcony.
The way we did right now, we created this penthouse suite upstairs, especially at COVID time. It helped her to boost her morale. So upstairs was hers, and in the 2 rooms downstairs, we took the small room. The room in the front, in the Cape Cod, became like the guest room because my mother-in-law was visiting us. She got stuck in COVID with us over here. That was the fun part. But it was okay. We survived all together. But it helped my daughter a lot having, she called that penthouse suite upstairs, and we did it great. You should have come and see, and she was able to get her friends over there because that's the largest room in the house. It's okay.
So I have a question about the attic space now. What is the height of the attic as it stands now?
5 feet.
5 feet.
At the collar tie.
At the highest point, it's 5 feet?
Yeah, and it's accessible only from a pull-down ladder, which is in the ceiling plan. The undue hardship is really the space itself is just too tight for the family, because there's really no real second floor. It's all eaves. So, and they needed space for like a family room and to live in it. So the other houses around this one have all been upsized. They're not McMansions. This one's the same width. It's going to be the same, it's not going to take over the property. As a matter of fact, the garage is set back a little further, so I think that's probably a plus. So it's not a snout house.
And you say you're building straight up?
Yeah, and within the setback for the addition.
We had 2 options. We wanted to save and build in our own town. We like our town. This is, yes, taxes are high, this, that, but we love this town. Even though my daughter graduated, I don't care about the school system. I don't need the school system, but I need this town. I need these people. I like to walk in this street. So that's why I would like to invest in my town instead of leaving my town. That's what it is.
So this is also an undersized lot. If it was a regular R4, you wouldn't require the floor area ratio variance, right?
Yeah, the real problem is the left side yard is at an acute angle, and that creates issues. If it was perhaps straighter, it might not have even been anything to
Undersized lot,
discuss.
you're building directly over the existing house.
Yes.
Right. Anybody else have any other questions for this witness? Anybody in the public have any questions for this witness? Anybody in the public want to make a statement for this application? Anybody on the board want to make a statement? Any on the board want to make a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Mr. Shah?
Yes.
Ms. Marachi?
Yes.
Ms. Khan votes yes. Mr. Kenya?
Yes.
Mr. Horn?
Yes.
Ms. Khanna?
Yes.
Mr. Beer?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you so much on behalf of all my ladies. Thank you. I feel sorry for Starbucks, they're not going to see you anymore.
Anybody need a break, or we're all good? Keep going.
Block 1601, Lot 312, Twin Oak Road, application number 2024-64-V, Andrew Edwards. Applicant seeks approval to construct a new single-family residence in violation of the following sections: 170-96A8, swimming pool corner lot, front side setback, 20 feet required, 12 feet proposed, 8 feet variance requested. 170-96A8, swimming pool right side yard setback, 20 feet required, 10 feet proposed, 10 feet variance requested. 170-96A8, swimming pool rear lot coverage, 10% allowed, 14.7% proposed, 4.7% variance requested.
All right, good evening, Chairman and the board members.
Welcome.
Good evening.
Hold on one second. You're up.
Okay, sir, would you raise your right hand? Raise your right hand. Are you going to testify? Yes. Raise your right hand.
Got both of you going.
Oh, I didn't see him there.
Sure, stand up.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Both of you, give us your full names, put your hand down.
All right.
And spell your last name for the record.
My name is Andrew Edwards. I live at 12 Twin Oak Road with my wife and 2 kids.
Sir?
My name is Gary Chang, Chiang, and I'm the engineer that's going to represent the applicant.
All right, get started. Well, like I said, good evening. Good evening, board and board members. Again, my name is Andrew. I live at 12 Twin Oak with my wife and 2 kids. I've been living in Livingston since 2015. I was here previously for another variance, maybe about 6 months ago, to expand our house, which was approved. I'm back again to request a variance to add a pool. I believe adding this pool will increase the quality of life for my family as well as our neighborhood. Our neighborhood is a tight-knit neighborhood. There's a lot of kids all around the same age, including my 2 daughters around 7 and 10. So we think this will be a good addition, especially in the hot summer times when the community pool could be crowded. It's not a huge pool. It's on the smaller end, but I think just having it will, like I said, increase the quality of bringing people together in the neighborhood as well as our quality of life. I'll turn it over to Gary, who is the expert with the numbers.
Okay, before you get started, could you tell us your education and all that stuff?
I'm a graduate of NJIT with a BS in civil engineering, and I am a licensed engineer in the state of New Jersey for over 25 years in good standing.
Does anyone on this board have any questions or objections regarding this witness? There be no objection. The witness is accepted as expert in civil engineering.
Thank you. Okay, so I guess I get the mic. So we are proposing a 14 by 28
Yep, that's correct.
in-ground swimming pool. Which is a pretty modest size, and we will need a variance for the side setback on this side. 20 feet is required. We're proposing 10 feet, and this will be the front side setback, which is also a 20-foot requirement. We're proposing 12 feet. And we also require variance for the pool rear yard setback of 14. I can't move this. Okay, there it is. 14.7%. So this property, it's existing undersized lot. And also, in terms of area, the requirement is 9,375 square feet, and we have 6,202 square feet. The lot width is also existing non-conforming. It's existing 50 feet wide and requires 75 feet. So if we were going to put this pool in a conforming lot, we would not actually need any of these variances. Right now, the topography drains from the upper right down to the road here, so there will be no impact on the neighbor, and it's going to continue to flow in the same direction. We have a 6-foot fence on the right, a 6-foot fence on the rear, and a 4-foot fence on Blair Cliff Road. Our property is also about 8 to 10 feet higher than Blair Cliff Road, so it's kind of like a natural, buffer from screening from, out there. Again, because of the unique size of the property, we're requesting these variances.
Does anybody on the board have any questions for this witness?
Where does the pool equipment, the machine, where does that go?
Actually, we were planning to put it right here, on the side here. There's a 6-foot fence here already, so, it will already be screened, from the neighbor. It's not labeled.
So I have a question. The photos that we received, the house doesn't look like this anymore, right? It's under construction?
Yeah,
and
it's currently
white
in
now?
construction, correct. So every day it's going to be a different look.
Okay. And it's hard to see in the back because there's all the materials back there now, so it's really hard to get a good sense, but it's not particularly large backyard. I understand the need to want a pool. I totally get it. It's a small backyard. Why did you just not choose to make a smaller pool and not come in front of the board? I'm just wondering, what's the real hardship of?
Well, no matter what size, we would have a setback issue. It's 20 feet, but that is on the smaller side. Anything smaller just wouldn't make sense. The pool that we're proposing is a pretty small pool to begin with.
And you can't move the fence because it's right at the top of where the hill is going down, so you can't move it out anymore.
No,
Right.
well, that's our property line, even
But
though we have additional space, but that's not a
So
part of the
that's not
survey.
yours. The property line ends where the fence is.
That's correct. So
Okay.
we do have additional space that's beyond the survey, that's most likely the town's, but it's not our property.
Right, and it's not usable anyway.
Yeah.
Right, so, okay. And looking at this, pools are always tricky, but it just seems to me that this does not fit in the backyard.
I mean, I work with over 20 different pool companies, and usually an average size pool nowadays it's probably like 18 by 32. So this one being 14 by 28 is relatively on the smaller size now. Plus the applicant have 2 kids, and then they have a lot of kids and their friends and when they come in. So so
It's
it
not
would
really a
start.
hardship, though.
Well, the main hardship is the existing undersized lot.
Right,
Yeah, and the lot width also, so.
And I get it, and we always work with the applicants in trying
Right.
to pass the application, but to me, I look at this and I just see that it's not really a hardship. Not being able to put a pool in the backyard because you have a small backyard is not really a hardship.
Anybody else on the board have any comments or questions?
From your experience, do pool companies make pools only in standard sizes?
Usually, yes. I mean, they do, I mean, this is going to be a liner pool, so it's pretty, they do have their standard shapes. Once you go to a gunite, then they can make it any shape they want. But, I mean, the gunite pools are very, a lot more expensive, so.
Yeah, and I mean, like he said, it is a smaller size pool that we do have a fence to protect, outsiders from coming in. But we don't really need, we prefer to have a pool than to have grass and a bunch of, space for maintenance. We do have space in the back, so you do see that it is 20 foot from the fence. And then the other side is about 10 feet, and then the other side is, I think, 7, almost 7. So the setbacks are not huge. I think the overall is just a 4.7 request on the variance, which we're asking. I don't think anyone comes up here for a hardship. Everyone is coming here to improve their family's quality of life. It's no different from myself.
Well, we might, every application that comes in front of us, if it's a C variance, it does require a hardship. It does. So even though it might not, we know what the hardship is, it might not, if in speaking when the architect or the engineer or the planner makes their arguments in front of us, they usually specify what the hardships are in the argument.
Okay.
So that's just part of the municipal land use law, that we have to have a hardship for a C2 variance or a C variance.
One other question I have. If I read this correctly, the pool is 14 feet from the end of the house? On the
Yes.
left quarter?
Yes, right
Is that the current house or the side of what the new addition is?
The new addition, it's 14 feet from the new addition.
Not a hardship if it's something people have a right to or not out of the ordinary for the neighborhood, then it would be a hardship based on this.
Are you keeping the same fence that's there?
That's the fence that's currently there, but we will conform to whatever fence is
Well, you'll have
needed.
to, in order to, for the excavation, you'll have to
Oh,
remove.
yes, we'll have to remove
and
the
then
fence.
Take it out and you'll put back the same fence?
Yeah, well, whatever fence is required to conform to the pool we'll put, but yes, we'll have to take the fence out to do excavation.
Okay.
It will be pool compliant when we put it back. Actually, it is pool compliant. I believe the gate is also pool compliant as of right now, so, but we'll take it out, we'll make sure we'll put on the same pool compliant fence.
Okay. And adhere to all safety measures in the backyard?
Yeah, we'll have a professional doing the bill.
Okay. And you can't plant trees on the outside of it, of the fence, because there's really nothing there, so you have
Right,
to plant
that's the
some-
township right-of-way property,
Right,
so we
on the
can't.
inside, you could
yeah.
possibly plant.
Yeah, we
just
could
Do
put
some
trees
landscaping,
in.
some screening,
Correct.
coverage.
Yep,
This way you block yourself from your neighbors and from passing traffic and so forth. Okay.
that's correct.
Does anybody else on the board have any comments or thoughts on this, besides Ms. Khan?
And you said you considered smaller sizes, or you?
I mean, actually, the applicant, when he first came up, he asked for a bigger pool, and I advised him to go for a smaller pool. And with I mean, any smaller, it's not really gonna, 10, 12 by, it's a very small pool, I mean, it's not even going to be, big enough for the kids to play in. It'll become like a lap pool after that, so.
Yeah, I think it looks bigger on the paper than when you actually draw it out, because I drew it out in my yard, and I still have a lot of yard around after. I don't know, maybe the blocks around it makes it look bigger than it is, the pavers.
The walkway, yeah.
Maybe you want to consult with a planner.
Just wanted to know if anybody else has the swimming pool in the neighborhood.
I'm not sure. I know there's a lot of swimming pools in Livingston, but I'm not sure on exactly where.
In the vicinity of this house, that there isn't, actually.
So this will be the first one in the whole block?
Yeah, yes.
I mean, the fact that it's a corner lot, that is an advantage for you. At least you have neighbors only on the other sides, and your one side is free. I understand. That's why this is a bit of a dilemma, because I understand that you're quite elevated. The
Yes,
property is very
yes,
elevated.
mhm.
And so from your point of view, yes, you have the buffer, you have some privacy because
Right,
of that.
and again, we could add, some arborvitae for extra screening if we, if we have to.
Yeah, we'll be compliant.
That could be a condition.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody else have any thoughts?
I think the lot size is a hardship.
Does anybody in the public have any comments for this witness? Anybody in the public want to make any statements? So it seems like what I'm hearing from the board is they're looking for some screening.
Okay.
I guess we just have to kind of define that a little bit. What do you recommend for screening? that we could-
Arborvitae's would be the best because they're clump, more like straight up, so it don't spread out. So, we could put a row of arborvitae's over there.
Well, just be careful, because the regular arborvitae, the deer love, so you probably want to do the green giant.
The green giant,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
yeah, it's deer resistance,
Right.
yes.
Okay, so which sides, how many, what's the spacing?
On the Blair Cliff Road side, we could plant them, usually the arborvitae, you plant them about 5 feet apart. So we'll just fill up the whole, side where the pool is.
So from the corner back? to
From,
the
from,
house?
from the corner of, out right here, all the way to the back.
And I guess 6 to 8 foot as they come?
Yeah, 6 feet, 6 feet.
6 foot
Six.
minimum,
Mhm.
5 foot spacing
They grow quickly.
on that whole?
They grow fast,
Yeah.
the green giants.
So arborvitae's or on one side will be good for them for privacy point of view, but the back and the other side where the neighbors are, I think,
There's already a 6-foot high fence, so.
okay,
Yeah, there's a fence on the back and then on the side to our only neighbor. And then the fence in the back, because it's a corner lot, that's actually their front yard. It's not their backyard. But there's a 6-foot fence.
okay, but I still feel a few greens over there would also help. It will make your backyard look prettier, and also for the neighbors and on the side and the back. It'll be a green wall,
Yeah,
because the trees will be taller than the fence.
yeah, the trees will
So
be taller.
it'll be nicer from aesthetic point of view.
Okay.
So then we're putting on all 3 sides? Is that what I'm hearing, or? Is that okay?
Did you say 3 sides or 2 sides?
They're saying 3, I think. 3 sides?
Okay.
So the front, the side, and the back, right?
Right, right.
Okay,
Well, definitely the front, and definitely the front and the side.
so, okay, well, I think everyone's nodding on all 3 sides. So all 3 sides, green giant arborvitae, 6 foot minimum height, 5 foot spacing?
Yes.
Okay,
But you might, I don't mean to beat a dead horse, honestly, I don't, but green giants grow really, really tall. So, I mean, I feel, on the side, you definitely, and the side and the front, definitely green giant, but, I mean, I don't know, is that something that you want to, it's up to you. I mean, I am not a landscape architect, and I'm not designing this for you, but I sort of would think that you might want to look into that. I don't know, is that the right, I don't know.
We could
I
keep
don't want to
them
make a
trimmed,
recommendation for that, because I
actually.
don't know that
mean,
that's the
you
right
could-
thing for
You could
that.
get them trimmed, they trim pretty easily.
Yeah, I
so-
mean, I have a landscaper,
Yeah.
so
Okay,
I'll let
all
him.
right. I just don't
Okay.
want to make a
Work is-
recommendation for something that I don't have a.
Yeah.
feel
I mean, my
100%
wife was gonna put trees there anyway, so.
Okay.
all right,
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're good there. Does anybody in the public want to make a statement? Anybody on the board want to make a statement? Anybody on the board want to make a motion?
motion? Okay.
I'll second it.
He beat you.
Who was it, Mr. Shaw?
Mr. Shaw. Yes.
Motion.
Motion
Yeah,
to
and the
approve.
variance.
Motion to approve.
With the
Subject to the
conditions.
conditions of the plantings.
Yes.
Trees.
Okay, yes, okay. Thank you, Jackie. Okay, Ms. Khan votes yes. Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mr. Kenya?
Yes.
Mr. Horn?
Yes.
Ms. Marachi?
Yes.
Ms. Khanna?
Yes.
And Mr. Beer?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, great, thank you. Have a good night.
And both maps, so we're good. The minutes to our map, so we're good.
All right.
Oh my God, it's like a record.
Seriously.
Okay, let's adjourn.
I'll look at back.
We know you. Block 500, Lot 21, 6 Rock Hill Drive. Oh, no, we did that, never mind, sorry. Block 6900, Lot 6, 51 Burnett Street, application number 2024-70-V, Rodak Builders Livingston 3 LLC. Applicant seeks approval to construct a single new family residence in violation of the following sections: 170-97C2 front yard setback, 40 feet required, 39 feet proposed, 1 foot variance requested. 170-87 BB2 habitable floor area ratio, 30% allowed, 35.9% proposed, 5.9% variance requested.
Good evening, my name is Matthew Casal from the law firm Sills, Cummins & Gross, and I represent the applicant, Rodak Builders Livingston 3, LLC, in connection with this application for habitable floor area ratio, as well as front yard setback. The applicant is here tonight proposing to demolish the existing improvements and construct a new single-family home. You'll hear testimony tonight in relation to a front yard setback. I do want to advise this board that currently the front yard setback is 29 feet, whereas the new setback will be 39 feet, which would be consistent with the established setback for the surrounding neighborhood. So we are still requesting that relief, but it is substantially reduced in intensification. In addition, although we are requesting a ratio here tonight, the habitable floor area itself is more than compliant, as it's about 500 square feet below hand. And in addition, this is because the hardship is the actual lot size itself, as the lot size is approximately 20% undersized. As far as it goes for testimony tonight, though, my planner, Mr. Nick Graviano, is going to be doing a 2-for-1 special. Although Mr. Graviano is not an architect, he does own a planning and architectural firm itself. So what he's going to do here tonight is he's going to put on his planning testimony while also walking through the architectural plans, which I'll qualify him for reviewing.
Great.
Terrific. So my first witness will be Mr. Nick Graviano, as I'm offering him only as a planner.
You swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, give us your full name for the record.
Nicholas Graviano.
Mr. Graviano, is your license still in good standing?
Yes, sir.
Terrific. Does the board accept him as an expert in planning?
Well, it's more than 10 minutes, we will accept him as expert in planning.
Touche. Mr. Graviano, is it true that you own a firm and your firm does both disciplines of both architectural and planning?
Yes.
So do you have familiarity with architectural plans?
Yes, I design houses.
Okay, and have you had an opportunity to review the Puzio architectural plans?
Yes, I also had a chance to discuss the plans with the architect and the applicant.
Great. Why don't you walk us through, and while you walk us through, also discuss the planning relief we're seeking here tonight in balance with the proposed application.
Certainly. First, I'll go through the architectural plans, highlighting the proposed floor plans and elevations for the single-family dwelling. As Mr. Posada indicated, will replace an existing dwelling. Here you have the front facade, front entry, 2-car garage, windows for the bedroom program that is on the second floor. Here are the other 3 elevations. You have the 2 side elevations with ample fenestration, so you're not dealing with any blank wall situation. Similar to the rear elevation where you have windows for the various rooms as well as access to the rear yard. I would like to note that the siding material is high-quality hardy plank siding. It is not vinyl, so that will be a very attractive facade. Moving on to the floor plans, Here you have the basement plan where the majority of the basement is an open recreation room, as well as a small bedroom and bathroom in the basement. Moving to the second floor, you have a attached two-car garage, as well as an open kitchen, dining, and family room area. There's additionally a guest room with an ensuite bathroom. I would like to note that this is a pretty modest-sized dwelling. The first floor living space plan is, approximately 600 square feet for the family room and guest room, and then the kitchen and the mudroom balances out the habitable floor area of that floor. Here you have the second floor program. It consists of a primary bedroom, ensuite bathroom, walk-in closet. Bedroom 2 has an ensuite bathroom. Bedroom 3 has an ensuite bathroom, whereas bedrooms 1 and 2 have a Jack and Jill bathroom situation. I'd like to highlight that the only access to the attic is through the pull-down stair in the second floor hallway. With relation to this staircase here, this is an open foyer, so there's no access for the stairs to get to the attic. So everything will be through the pull-down stair in the hallway. So
And therefore, the attic cannot be habitable?
the attic will not be habitable.
Thank you.
So that concludes the program for the proposed dwelling.
Okay, so the front yard is existing non-conforming.
Oh,
I'm going to get into the
yeah,
planning
he's going to get into the
testimony.
planning in just a moment, but yes, that is true. The front yard is existing non-conforming at 29.1, whereas the new proposal will have it at 39 feet, whereas 40 feet is required. So we're going from 11 to a 1-foot variance.
Yeah, there are other variances that are eliminated with this application, and I'll get into them.
Does anybody have any questions regarding the architecture of the house? Please step forward.
Your name and address.
Pascal Marinello, 53 Burnett Street, Livingston. A couple of questions I had. If you could first scroll back to the front elevation. The front elevation shows the main roof front to back, but then when you show the side elevations, they go side to side. So if you look at the main roof, you could.
I'll highlight the roof plan that'll show you the variation.
Okay.
Give me 1
Yeah,
second.
because it was just showing it right there.
Right here.
No,
No, this is the roof plan that shows that there is variation in the roof line.
now is that the front elevation?
No, this isn't the front elevation. This is the overhead roof plan that shows that there are variations. If you see,
Yeah,
there's,
in other words, when I'm looking at, this is what I want to show you, when I'm looking at this front elevation up top, the main roof goes front to back, but when you go to the next page and you see the side elevations, it now is going side to side.
no, there are dormers in the roof. It doesn't just simply go back to back. The applicant added roof definition, so it isn't just a large expanse of asphalt shingles. That's why you see this triangular area here on the roof, this triangular area here on the roof, and the one,
Okay, so that's
and the
what
one
I'm
in the
looking at. I'm
back.
looking at the
Yeah, the applicant didn't want a roof without definition, so it added definition to provide some variation in the roof scheme.
Okay, understood. I noticed on your plan that you're gonna salvage the garage foundation and footings. With all the demolition, you're knocking the whole house down. Why would you, or how do you do that? And there's a reason why I'm asking all this stuff. Because I saw notes that were made that they were gonna preserve the existing garage foundation and footing. And that is the area that's next to my property. so I was curious.
No, the applicant's proposing a new foundation for the garage.
It is, okay.
Yes.
Because the notes that I had, when I came to review the plans at the town hall, it said otherwise, and, but, okay.
Yeah, no, the applicant is building a new house here.
Yeah, I realized that. In fact, I saw everything else was being demoed, but it had a specific little subnote on the plans regarding that, and I didn't know if it was being left to grandfather something in, so it,
On the side elevation, on A2, I think that's a note that the resident is referring to, right there on the left side of side elevation. Nope. Yeah. Up a little, at the top of the screen. Now it's kind of in the middle. Dead center. Existing footing and foundation to remain.
Okay, we'll get that corrected.
one of my concerns, because I'm the property right next door to it, and the drainage. Is there going to be underground drainage? Is it going to be going to the backyard? Is it going to be down their driveway?
Yeah, so I can actually answer that question.
Yeah.
As far as it goes for drainage for this application, it's actually not part of the jurisdiction of it. Nevertheless, it is part of the overall approvals to be issued building permits. And what do I mean by that? If this board were to find favorably, the next step would be that we would have to submit a lot surface drainage report to the township's engineer. And pursuant to their review, any runoff issues and/or stormwater mitigation issues, the township engineer will then recommend improvements. And those aren't really recommendations, those are actually directions that we would have to follow and install. Absent doing that, we wouldn't be able to be issued construction permits.
Then let me ask
Yeah.
you, since you're in the construction phase, in a typical house like this, would the gutters come to downspouts and the downspouts go under, as opposed to just draining to the side of the house, or?
Submitted with the application, the applicant's engineering's plan shows subsurface drainage in the rear yard, which the roof leaders will be connected to.
Okay, and also, the front part, obviously, it's gonna be one 60-foot-long gutter. When the front downspouts, they'd be led to the back of the house also?
One moment. Yes, everything's being led to the rear yard.
Okay.
And as Mr. Posada said, all of this will be reviewed by the municipality's engineer.
Understood. No, because
Because this is just the first step of the process.
Yeah.
The applicant then has to go get the stormwater approval from the engineer, as well as zoning permits and building permits and the like.
Because the thing that I'd like the board to understand, I've been living in this house for 48 years. And it's probably one of the older neighborhoods in town. My house is going to be 100 years old in 10 years. And it's in beautiful shape. We're one of the last houses that has a traditional wood siding. And so, we take good care of it. And being that it's an old-fashioned neighborhood with only 50-foot wide lots, it's very easy for drainage issues to occur from all these new houses being constructed. And, that's one of our concerns with that. A couple of years ago, when we had the huge rainstorm, for the first time in 48 years, the slop sink in the basement had an overflow, not from the neighbors, obviously, but from the city sewer system because of, and when I talked to one of the engineers with the town, they said, well, it's because the town were overbuilding. And because we're a low-lying area on Burnett Street, I guess, I don't know if you've ever been on the street, it's a very low neighborhood. And so I'm very concerned about protecting our house from things like that, and also from rain runoff from neighboring properties.
So are you to the left or the right of this house?
Looking at, I am to the right, I'm number 53.
Okay, so in this scenario, the house is actually going to move further away from your
I
property.
saw that, it went from 5.8
So-
feet to 10 feet.
Yeah, so you're actually going to get additional green space between this dwelling and your
As long as
house.
it's not a slope towards my house.
The engineer will be looking at the grade.
The town makes sure that there's no additional drainage going off of a new construction onto the neighbors.
Good to know.
That's a requirement, as I think they tried to explain, maybe you didn't catch, which is fine.
Yeah,
But
no,
this
I
is
did.
every neighbor was worried about
I
that.
just-
It's Livingston, the water doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So we understand, the town understands that, the town tries to take good care of everybody.
Sir, I certainly know that this is an improved scenario for you, given that the house is going to be pushed further away from your property and subsurface stormwater drainage will be added to the site.
Yes, and also, Mr. Marinello, today the site itself exists with no stormwater improvements, so it will actually be a mitigation, what's being proposed here tonight.
Okay, I have other things, but it's probably regarding the setback. Should I wait and do that as a separate issue?
Oh, you can do it right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the things I have, I know, Ms. Khanna, you had mentioned on previous cases that were heard tonight that you had visited a lot of the properties. I don't know if you visited this property. You did, good.
All right.
My house it was built 30 feet deep and around 40 years ago, I built a room off the back that goes out 13 feet. So I go back, let's say, 43 feet. This new house is going to be 60 feet deep, or 59 point something. You have the exact number there. It's, in my opinion, far too large for the property. I'll sit out my back deck. I can now wave to all the neighbors, to my right, to my left, and now I'm going to have a house that's going to go way back.
We're kind of in the question phase, so if you want to make a statement, you can do that later.
That's
So,
what I
yeah,
am,
this- Yeah, it's
okay.
kind of, yeah.
Okay.
So we'll invite you back up. Thank you so much for your questions. Okay. back
If
to
I
you.
may Mr. Graviano proceed forward now with the plain testimony?
Please.
Great, thank you, Nick.
Okay, so the applicant is before the board requesting the habitable floor area ratio variance along with C variances, some of which relate to the existing measurements of the property, some of them relate to this proposal. Firstly, the applicant is requesting a variance for the minimum lot area, 9375 is required, 7584 is existing and proposed.
There's no variance requested for that. It wasn't cited by the township building engineer, probably because.
All right, I was just going to put on the proofs that it is an existing condition, but if you don't want the testimony, that's fine. Same goes for the lot width, which is not being changed by this application. The C variance that the applicant's requesting for setback is the front yard. The applicant is requesting 39 feet, whereas 40 feet is required. This is in excess of the neighborhood average, which was conducted. That variance certainly could be granted under the C1 criteria, promoting a positive visual environment and creative development techniques and arrangements. That's purpose I of the municipal land use law. With 1 foot, and given that it's meeting the front yard setback average of the neighborhood, there's certainly no substantial impairment of the zone plan or zoning ordinance with that request. The applicant, as I mentioned previously, is rectifying a current deficient side yard setback, whereas presently 5.76 feet exists, whereas the ordinance requirement of 10 feet is proposed. Additionally, the current aggregate side yard setback is 13.14 feet. The applicant is proposing a conforming 20-foot as per the ordinance requirements. So lastly, the applicant's request is for the habitable floor area ratio, whereas 30% is required, 35.9% is proposed. The applicant is well below the habitable floor area limit As you know, the habitable floor area limit is 3,220 square feet. The applicant's home is at 2723. That is 497 square feet less than the habitable floor area square footage amount. Also, this is an undersized lot. The applicant's lot is 1,761 square feet, deficient in this scenario. Looking at the setbacks, the applicant is requesting that 1-foot front yard setback. The applicant is meeting the required side yard setbacks, and the applicant is also exceeding by 10.8 feet the rear yard setback. So this house is certainly conforming with all the required setbacks of the district. If the board pushed, we could push the house back a foot to conform to that 40 feet. I don't think it's necessary in this situation because the applicant meets the average front yard setback of the neighborhood. Excuse me?
What is the average front yard setback?
37.40. So certainly, with respect to the habitable floor area ratio request, it certainly promotes purpose of zoning of the municipal land use law, specifically Purpose A, promotion of the general health, morals, safety, and welfare. That's done through a couple of different items. The applicant is adding subsurface drainage to the property. The applicant is rectifying the deficient side yard setback, and the applicant is rectifying the deficient aggregate side yard setbacks. It also promotes Purpose G, sufficient space and appropriate location for a variety of residential uses to meet the needs of New Jersey citizens. And then lastly, it promotes a desirable visual environment and creative development techniques and good civic design and arrangement. There's no substantial impairment to the zone plan or zoning ordinance with the granting of the FAR variance.
Thank you. I have no further questions for this witness.
Does anybody on the board have any questions for this witness as a planner? Does anybody in the public have any questions for this witness as a planner? Come on back up.
Do you have to state my name again?
No, just a question. Questions first.
Okay. Well, it's all part of
Is it a statement or a question?
both. I got, little bit of both.
Why don't we swear you in?
Okay.
And let's do it all in one big shot.
I do. Pascal Marinello, 53 Burnett Street. Regarding the habitable floor ratio, well, all the numbers presented, sound good if you never saw the property. It doesn't conform with the adjacent houses. My house total, including my addition, is 1,600 square feet. And this house is proposed to be, I think, 27. If it remained at the 30% habitable floor area ratio, it would be 2,275 square feet, which to me, for a kid who grew up in a cold water flat, this is a pretty darn good house at 2,275. My concern is from the front, beautiful front elevation. Yes, it's going to add nice to the neighborhood, but the depth of the house going way back is just going to be, it's going to ruin my property lines looking to the left, and it's just oversized for the lot. My house, like I said, goes back 43 feet. The existing house that they're going to build on goes back 30 feet. And they're going to double the size going back. So, like I said, we're not going. I think it's going to be a hardship for us enjoying the backyard, looking at a long wall. I think it's overdevelopment for this area of town. It just doesn't lend itself to a house of this size. The width is fine, the height's fine, the looks from the street are fine, but the depth of the house is, to me, oversized. And that's what my concern is, and that's why I'm against the habitable floor ratio. Even at 30%, it's going to be a deep house, because if you're going to knock off, say, 500 feet, it's, you know, what are you going to decrease the depth of the house by maybe 10 feet or something like that? But I, you know, that's what I'm against. I'm against the depth of the house, and for that particular setback. The 1 foot in the front is not an issue, but the ratio is the problem.
I would just like to address
Please,
some of the neighbors' comments, and I respect his opinion. However, I must respectfully disagree on a couple of items. Mainly, the square footage of this house does fit into the neighborhood and is consistent with many of the homes in the neighborhood. A couple houses down at 57 Burnett Street, you have a 3,056 square foot house. At 39 Burnett Street, you have 3046, as well as 3743, you have 3013. 29, you have 3013. 19, you have 2592. So the square footage of this house is similar to many of the that exist in the neighborhood. With respect to the building length, there's no building length requirement in the ordinance, and the applicant's actually exceeding the minimum rear yard by over 10 feet. So while the neighbor thinks the house is long, it's within the bounds, you know, of the zoning code of the municipality.
The houses down the street, I believe Rodak was involved with those, if I'm not mistaken?
Sir, I'm just going on the
Oh,
data from the
okay.
tax assessor.
Okay, okay.
You know, so there
And-
are,
And the 2 houses down, I never got notice that that was even going, you know, about coming to a zoning meeting, and I know you weren't involved with that either. But if.
Objection.
But if you were.
Relevance.
Okay.
But if you were to come, make a visit to the neighborhood and see the house, and from the street, it's a beautiful house, the one at 57, I think that you're referring to. But you sit in my backyard, 2 houses down, it's just, to me, it's an eyesore. It just doesn't blend with what the neighborhood was meant to be. And, you know, I could see you want something a little bit bigger, but to double the size, double the depth of what was there is a lot. I don't know what to tell you. And that's why I'm not in agreement with the habitable floor ratio, increasing it. I may not have any say as far as the 30%. You know, I don't know if I could even, if I could, I'd even say 30% is too much. And again, if you saw the neighborhood, if you saw my house next to it, you'd say, geez, you know, would you want this next to you? And like I said, from the front, it's beautiful, you know, but from the back, you know, that's a different story.
Okay, thank you. I know you minimized your front yard setback. What if we take a foot or 2 back? Is that possible? Maybe give a little bit more light in the back and?
Yeah, that was actually gonna be part of my summation itself, is that the reality is that we are modifying the footing and foundations, and we're setting it back 10 more feet to be more in conformance with the zoning code itself, which to his position would be inconsistent with the character of the neighborhood. So the reality is, it's up to this board as to whether or not you want us to bring it up another 5 more feet or 8 more feet, or keep it as is, so that he can have that much more of a setback. Because if his setback is 43 feet and ours is roughly 30 feet, if we go back to the 10 feet, we're really just talking about a 3-foot differential. So I leave it to this board as to how you would like to see that actual footprint in order to accommodate his site angles.
Excuse me, you're saying this side is 50 feet, the other, one side is 50, my
No,
side is
listen,
60?
I'm not going back and forth.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
saying
Oh, okay.
that.
I'm sorry.
We're trying to find some sort of mediation.
A
to try to
balance, yes.
Help everybody out a little bit at least.
On the proposal, it says 39 feet is the setback for the new home,
Correct.
but on the drawing, it at least appears it's 38 feet.
You know, it should say 39 feet. 39 feet is a setback, because that's what the zoning official had
All right, it
stated.
says 38 here.
Okay.
So just
No,
on
no, I
this
appreciate
page,
the
the
inconsistency.
inconsistency between the two. So we should just make sure we're clear, whatever number we approve, that we're clear what that number is, because there's inconsistency on the form.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure, absolutely.
So is anybody?
But today, right now, as exists, is 29 feet. So I guess what we're talking about is, where do we want to go? Because if we want to be conforming at 40, we can push it back another foot. I mean, it's really to this board because of the flexibility we have. Ooh, I lost my voice, with the rear yard. So it's really up to this board.
And what was this, you're fixing the side yard nonconformity, right?
Yes, we're eliminating those side yard setbacks, meaning the
So-
side yard and the aggregate side yard have now been eliminated.
So you're squeezing in how much more, just as a reminder?
About 5 feet.
5
I
feet
think it's like 5.68, now we're going to be conforming
So
at 10.
that will increase the distance between the two properties?
Correct. So I guess, again, like I stated before, to address this neighbor's concern, it's really, where do you guys want us to put the plot?
Well, looking at the average setback is 37.4, and that's probably skewed a little bit because of the 71.24, which weighs very heavily on the averaging. Maybe we hit 35?
Yep.
Pull it back 4 feet? How does that sound to the board? Does that
Absolutely. We
sound
agreed to
fair?
that as a condition of approval to modify the setback. Instead of being 39, it would be 35.
And you'll have a 5-foot variance.
Yes.
Okay, so they have agreed to move it back 4 feet towards the front to give you a little additional light out there, a little bit more of your side yard back. I mean, they can go back another 10 feet, understand, and we really can't argue. They could fit inside, but they're trying to keep something relative, and I think if they move it forward, that probably helps you out a bit. Another 4 feet is, whatever, something like that. Yeah, so.
I was thinking do that and also chop off maybe another 4 feet off the back of the house.
I can't. Yes.
We will not consent to that.
Yeah, so.
Well, why not just stay within the 30% required?
Mr. Bear, we need to have a record, so, yeah.
I guess I could just make this blanket statement. We're more than willing to accommodate and shift the actual building foundation itself, either 4 feet up, 4 feet back, whatever we can do within the actual building envelope itself. But as far as it goes, reducing or redesigning the project, we're not open to having that type of dialogue, at least not tonight. Thank you.
Then my question to you would be, if the required habitable floor ratio is 30%, and you just did it at 30%, why not just use that number? Why look for the 35.9? Why don't you just reduce the square footage by 500 square feet?
Well, I guess it's because the municipal land use law allows us to put on the record proofs to justify that D variance, and that's what we did here tonight. And we're hopeful that the board adjudicates in our favor, because as stated on the record, all the other bulk measurements, not only have they been met, but we've more than accommodated by eliminating other variance relief.
Additionally, part of our proofs was that this is an undersized lot, and we are under the habitable floor area limit established in the zoning district. So that was part of our proofs for the application.
I leave it in your hands.
Thank you. We appreciate your opinion and testimony. Anybody want to make a statement?
I'll make a statement. The Zoning Board of Adjustment is oftentimes put in very unenviable positions, and we hear what you say, and we also have heard the testimony presented in front of us tonight. So now we have to make that decision. We appreciate the fact that the house is being pushed back another 4 feet, but again, we have to abide by the law that's set forth. So as much as we might think something, we have to abide by the law, and that's what we go by.
And I would like to add, I appreciate the applicants making an adjustment that the board thought was necessary to at least mitigate some of the concerns of the community.
Absolutely.
Which applicant doesn't need to do that? I mean, you could have gone with it.
Correct. Would anybody like to make a motion?
I'll second
You
it.
turned your Mike,
Oh, sorry. I make a motion to approve, subject to the 35-foot change in the initial setback.
And I'll second it.
Thank you.
that was Horn and Mr.
Okay, Mr. Horn
Yes.
and Mr. Shah.
Yes.
Mr. Shah, did you second it? Who seconded it? Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Kenya?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Shah voted yes. Ms. Khan votes yes. Ms. Marachi?
Yes.
Ms. Khanna?
Yes.
Mr. Beer?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We're going to take a 2-minute break. Thank you for your time.
Okay.
Go for it.
Block 1307, Lot 30, 19 Mayhew Drive, application number 2024-59-V. Andrew and Rebecca Freeman. Applicant seeks approval to construct a new single-family residence in violation of the following sections: 170-97C2 front yard setback, 60 feet required, 58.1 feet proposed, 1.9 feet variance requested. 170-87BB2 habitable floor area, 4,870 feet square. It's been a long night. 4,870 square feet allowed, 5,250 square feet proposed, 380 square feet variance requested. 170-87CC2 habitable floor area ratio, 18% required, 21% proposed, 3% variance requested.
Good evening. My name is Matthew Posada. I'm from the firm Sills, Cummins & Gross, and I represent the Freemans in connection with this variance application. What the applicant is looking to do here tonight is propose a project whereby they're going to demolish all existing improvements to do a new single-family home itself. Although this application has both a ratio variance and also a floor area variance, I want to keep in mind the character of the neighborhood of where this actual proposed improvement is itself. You're going to hear testimony tonight from our professionals that although this site itself has an exceeding ratio and floor area, it's actually substantially undersized, and I'm doing air quotes, not to be sarcastic or facetious, but just to be honest with you, because you'll see that some single-family homes in the immediate vicinity are almost 3,000 square feet larger than what's being proposed here tonight. Tonight, I'll have two experts to provide testimony. I'll have both my architect and also my planner, who I believe this board is very familiar with now tonight. And then I also just want to make mention that we do have our engineer here in the audience in the event that there's any questions about stormwater, but I do want to get ahead of the curve a little bit here tonight and just state that we are proposing stormwater improvements to the subject site, and that for those existing stormwater improvements that are on the site right now, we will agree as a condition of approval to jet them, subject to the review and inspection of the township engineer, just to confirm that they are all working up to par for current modern expectations.
Noted. Thank you.
Thank you. So if I may, I'd like to just call my first witness, who will be my architect, Mr. Jordan Rosenberg.
Good evening. My name is Jordan Rosenberg.
Hold on a second, you guys have sworn.
Microphone, and we gotta swear you in.
Do you swear the testimony given this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
So give us your full name, sir.
Jordan Rosenberg, Rosenberg.
Terrific. Jordan, can you please do us a favor and please walk us through your educational credentials and state whether or not your license in architecture is
Certainly.
still in good standing in the state of New Jersey?
My license is in good standing with the state of New Jersey. I've been a licensed architect since 2004, practicing on my own firm since 2004. I received my Master's of Architecture from Tulane University.
Terrific. Does this board accept him as an expert in architecture?
Does anyone on this board have any questions or objections regarding this witness?
Mr. Posada, before you proceed, another housekeeping matter. You pointed out to me that on the declaration page of the application, you did not check off the box for the D variance.
The D variance was noticed, though.
That's
for this.
not checked off, so would you amend it to check that off?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Going back to the architect, there be no objections. The witness is accepted as an expert in architecture.
Thank you.
Terrific. Jordan, did you have an opportunity to visit the subject site?
Yes,
And did you also have an opportunity to drive around and see the character of the neighborhood?
I did.
Great. And did you also have an opportunity to review this municipality zoning code for this zone?
Yes,
And did you take that into consideration when proposing this development?
absolutely.
Great. Why don't you walk us through this proposed single-family home?
Certainly.
Use the microphone, please.
Yes, be happy to. Thank you. Do you all have a copy of the exhibit, the rendering exhibit? Copy of that.
Yes.
We don't have a hard copy. We're going to let
Hard copies. Would anyone like a hard copy of it?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, as long as you're printing them out.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Thank you.
We're marking this out. It's already part of the package.
It's kind of part of the package. It's just a copy for our convenience.
So, my clients, Andy and Rebecca, hired me to design a new home for their family. They have 3 kids, and their requested intent was to have a 4-bedroom, second-floor house for their 3 kids and themselves. And they also, Rebecca's parents live out of the state, so They wanted a guest bedroom for them as well, which we provided on the first floor. So essentially, they hired me to design a house to meet their needs based on their programmatic requirements. Essentially, that's why it's triggering some of these variances. But the intent of the design itself and the character of the home is, with the assistance of my clients, we wanted to create a very charming, timeless, elegant shingle-style home, something that would contribute in a really positive way to the character of the town. We are proposing a product called, the siding is new cedar siding, which is a composite siding. The color is called worldly gray, and it comes in 3 different hues, a light gray, a medium gray, and a dark gray. You're actually ordering it in one color, but it comes in boxes within 3 hues, and it gives it this really wonderful, realistic effect of semi-translucent stained siding. It's beautiful. The windows, we're exploring the possibility of Marvin windows, Colby windows, or Anderson windows. They're going to be true simulated divided lights. The character of the house, we wanted it to be understated elegant. We were not trying to create anything ostentatious or assuming. We have roof lines that come down with skirt roof, and the roof line over the garage on the right side of the house there, you can see comes down to the first floor. Skirt roof to create the essence of a house that's evoking a sense of humbleness, so that when you drive by it, you know, hey, this is the personality of the homeowners. They're humble in nature because their house does not have that in-your-face look. It's charming character. That's basically it. Unless you want me to go through the floor plans, that's all I have to say.
Yes, please, walk us through the floor plan.
Sure.
As well as the elevations, including the heights.
Including the
Heights.
Sure. So. Oh, okay, let me do it from the screen. That's what you guys are used to. My pleasure. Architect's plans. Microphone. It's a finished basement. We have a recreation room, a home gym, and we have guest bedrooms, home office, gym. It's basically a flex room, whatever they want to use it for, and a bar area. It's a walkout basement that creates access to the existing pool. The first floor has your what a standard new home would have. It's a 2-car garage, a dining room, kitchen, family room, dinette, a foyer. It's a 2-story foyer, so it's important to note that although we're asking for the FAR variance, it's counted twice, but the floor area is only usable in terms of once. A guest bedroom and a home office, and a kid's playroom. And then the second floor, if I could find it here. I don't know why I'm not, there it is, okay, great. And we have our 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, second floor. So the house, the front of the house, as you can see, the rendering better depicts it than the 2-dimensional architectural elevations. The back of the house is represented below it. It has a covered veranda at the back, clean lines. And then there's 2 side elevations here. It's a side-loading garage. The garages are hidden from the side of the house. The existing house has the existing house, which is a brick colonial from the 1960s, is being demolished, and it has a 2-car garage on the left side, and it's a basement level or garage. We're moving the garage to the right side of the house so it could be entered or accessed from the first floor, and it's just a cleaner look. And that's our roof plan. Just conceptual in nature, but accurate. Regarding building height?
Yes.
So we comply with building height. It's a pull-down hatch to access the attic. It's an non-habitable attic. It's important to note that the 2-car garage does not have any attic above it. it's no ceiling on the two-car garage, it's open, lofted kind of a garage.
So real quick,
So
Jordan,
one
I
and a
want to
half,
go back to the foyer. As you note, and as you noted as well on the record, that it is essentially double counted. Can you please advise this board of approximately what the square footage is of that foyer that's double counted?
Sure. So the foyer is 12 foot 1.5 by 18 foot 2.5. So let's just say 12.1 times 18.1. And of course, that it's going to be 10% larger than that because the staircase I'm not including, but staircases exist in all houses, not two-story spaces.
Okay, so it's about 219 square feet?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions for this witness.
Does anybody on the board have any questions for this witness?
I got one. Do you know what the height is of the attic? Because it's not.
Sure. Well, so to the underside of the attic structure is 6'11" because that's what I set my collar ties at. And the collar ties are an essential part of the structural integrated element of this rigid A-frame roof design. So technically, when you pull down the hatch and you go up to the attic, every collar tie at 16 inches on center, which will be 2x8 collar ties, will be set at 6'11".
Anybody else have any questions? And to clarify, in the garage, we're not going to come back and add any joists, it's going to stay open and...
Correct.
Attic.
The attic is a pull-down.
Pull down also?
Yes.
Okay.
Does anybody in the public have any questions for this witness? I assume a house of this nature, you're going to have mechanical equipment up in the attic too, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, back to you, Mr. Posada.
Perfect. I'd like to call my next witness, my last witness, the planner. Thank you so much. I just like to bring up my last witness, Mr. Nick Graviano. He'll be testifying to planning.
Yes, sir.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Your full name, please?
Nicholas Graviano?
And Nick, is your license still in good standing for planning?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
We can accept you as expert in planning.
Thank you.
Terrific. Mr. Graviano, did you have an opportunity to visit the subject site?
Yes, I've been at this site on 2 separate occasions, yes.
Did you also have an opportunity to review the tax cards in regards to the other single-family homes within the neighborhood?
Yes, I was able to access data obtained through the Essex County website.
Terrific. So why don't you walk us through why you believe that the site can accommodate the proposed improvement?
Certainly, I'd like to give that rationale as well as some neighborhood data to show that this house is certainly in keeping of the neighborhood. The applicant is requesting this relief for Block 1307, Lot 30. This is a 25,000 square foot lot in the R2 zone. The R2 zone allows a building coverage of 20.72% for this particular lot. The applicant's proposal for the building coverage of this dwelling is 16.51%. So the building coverage of this proposed parcel is certainly under what's permitted by ordinance. The applicant is requesting the front yard setback variance, whereas 60 feet is required and 58.1 feet is being proposed. That 58.1 feet is the neighborhood average in this context. That variance certainly could be granted under the C2 criteria, promoting purpose I, a desirable visual environment, and good civic design arrangement. That 1.9 feet certainly does not cause a substantial impairment to the zone plan or the zoning ordinance. The applicant is requesting a 380-foot increase of the maximum habitable floor area for this dwelling. When you look at 380 square feet, it's only 1.5% of the total area of the lot. It's a pretty modest request. And it's even more modest when you look at it in terms of the neighborhood context, and I'll get into that data shortly. The applicant is also requesting a 3% increase to the maximum habitable floor area ratio. As you heard in the architectural testimony, the proposed double-counted foyer counts to 219 square feet. So the applicant, in essence, is only asking for 171 square feet in excess of the square footage in relation to the habitable floor area number. Looking at the neighborhood, I had a chance to look at these houses in person, as well as look at the tax data. Some of the houses in the surrounding community, 27 Mayhew, which is known as Block 1307, Lot 26. That house is on a house that's slightly larger than the applicant's, but not that much larger. That lot is 128 by 112. The applicant's lot is 125 by 200. The 27 Mayhew Drive house, which was built in 2005, is a little bit short of 8,100 square feet. That house measures 8098 as per the tax records. Moving on, 23 Mayhew Drive. That house was built in 74. That house has a building square foot of 6,816 square feet. That is on a lot the exact same size as the applicant's. 21 Mayhew, that lot contains a house that's 5,922 square feet on a lot size the exact same as the applicant's before you this evening. So, you know, with the three neighboring houses, this applicant's lot, although 380 square feet larger than it's supposed to be, is still a considerably amount smaller than those neighboring dwellings, which are on lot sizes that are consistent with the applicants. So looking at that FAR variance, the applicant must demonstrate that the site can accommodate the building given the increased request for the proposed FAR. I touched on some of the numbers. The applicant is roughly 4% less than the permitted building coverage for the site. The applicant is providing new stormwater management systems, and the applicant is meeting all required setbacks with the exception of the 1.9 feet for the neighborhood average for the front yard. I certainly do not see any scenario where the site cannot accommodate the proposed dwelling. When you look at the advancement of the purposes of zoning of the municipal land use law, it certainly advances purpose A. That's done through the addition of additional stormwater management systems to the height. It also advances purpose G to provide sufficient space and appropriate location for variety of residential uses to meet the needs of New Jersey citizens. And here you have a little node where this neighborhood is known for accommodating dwellings of a larger size than what's permitted by ordinance. Lastly, as you saw by the architect's impeccably designed house, this house is a drastic improvement aesthetically over the current home, which is a nice home, but you know, these are the type of homes that you want to see in your community from an aesthetic standpoint, certainly advancing purpose I of the municipal land use law.
Mr. Graviano, is it your testimony here tonight that those single-family homes within the immediate vicinity include homes with a habitable floor area anywhere between 700 to 2,900 square feet larger than what is being proposed here tonight?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I have no further questions for this witness.
Does anybody on the board have any questions for this witness? Anybody in the public have any questions for this witness? Not seeing any. That's it?
That's it. I can't believe it.
Does anybody in the public want to make any statements?
Yes.
Swear you in, 1 second.
Sure.
You swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I affirm.
All right, please give us your full name and spell your last name, sir.
Jeremy Michael Doberman, Doberman.
And your address?
17 Mayhew.
Thank you.
Sure. I'm an admitted attorney in New York and New Jersey and various federal courts as well.
Okay.
Okay. So my property is the property immediately, I believe, to the north. It's immediately downhill from the applicant's property. So I just wanted to make it clear from the perspective from which I'm joining, my property would be in the position to be impacted the most by the proposed development. I stand tonight in strong support of the applicant's request for variances. I think that there's no question that this is in keeping with the character of the neighborhood. I'm colorblind, so I can't really testify as to whether or not the actual color is aesthetically pleasing, and it's gray, okay, whatever that means. Might look pink to me on a given day, but the bottom line is that it does, to me, look like a really nice house. I think the applicant has worked hard for it. I think he deserves it, and I think it's great. And also with regard to the testimony by the planner, that there are significantly larger houses on the block, even just adjoining us, that's certainly true. There's no question that this is in keeping with the character of the neighborhood. As I look at the property, it's just a smaller version of the house that immediately adjoins it to the south, which is on the other side of the applicant's property from mine. My sole reason for joining tonight, other than strongly supporting the application, was a concern about stormwater management. And I don't know if you can bring up the proposed plan. I did just want to show graphically what I'm referring to, because I did have a chance to talk to the applicant and also talk to the applicant's engineer regarding it.
Are we able to pull this out? Yeah, need some help from the man behind the curtain?
Sorry, I was taking a nap.
Okay, so that's the proposed dwelling. If you can go down to the next page, the existing dwelling. Right. So right now, as things stand, if you can zoom in a little bit, that's a little far out. There is, to the right of the pool there, an inlet that's several feet, right there, several feet by several feet. As things stand right now, there is a pipe that's running under the patio all the way to my side of the property. And it connects with an existing pipe that allows stormwater to drain towards the street. And there's a drainage easement running across the front of my property. In the applicant's initial proposal, he cannot keep that pipe running from the right to the left because he's building there. So instead the proposal, right, there you go. So what instead the proposal was to move that a few feet after what was the patio towards the pool. I don't think that makes a lot of sense. I think it has the potential to cause drainage issues in the future. So my recommendation was a conditional approval with the requirement that instead of reconstructing that pipe that runs towards my side of the property, instead horizontally dig and install a pipe that allows the water to drain from that inlet that's on the right side of the pool there directly towards the street and to connect into the existing groundwater management system there. One of the reasons that we strongly support this application, I do have to emphasize strongly support the application, is the driveway that is on my side of the property is being entirely uprooted and replaced with grass. So in terms of stormwater management concerns, that's a really big one that we think is really going to improve. And so we're also very happy, of course, that the garage is going on the other side of the property, essentially. I do have to say, you may consider this, you may not, I don't know, in court we would call it hearsay. I spoke to the owner of 21 Mayhew, who's the owner on the other side, on the right over there, and he indicated he has no opposition whatsoever. He's traveling, otherwise he would be here tonight also in strong support
I
of the
believe that's
application.
hearsay, though, yes.
Sorry?
I believe that is hearsay.
Right. So, well, you know, if nobody objects, it can be considered by court. But anyway, that's a rule of evidence. What can I tell you? Okay, so just generally speaking, also, there are a couple of inlets that are being proposed to be installed on my side of the property. All this together with the pipe that I propose to run on the other side of the property, I think will certainly do enough for stormwater management, alleviate any concerns moving forward. And again, we strongly support the application with that one modification.
Thank you. We really don't have the privy to make a stormwater management decision at this time. The engineering department from the township will require a full study.
Right.
So no additional water can travel to any of the neighbors' property after construction. So you are covered. Probably a good idea that what you thought of, but we can't really, because that might not be the optimal engineering solution.
Right,
So that
okay.
has to be designed, so, but yeah.
Okay.
But
Have you
thank you for your
seen
comments.
the township engineer's report on this?
I have not seen the town.
I'll give you my copy, and he addresses the same issues you do. So maybe you want to talk to him about
I
what they
actually
think.
spoke with the assistant township engineer today, but I'm happy to pick it back up.
All right.
And the last paragraph there, yep.
Okay.
And just to reiterate, as I said in the opening of this matter, we do agree as a condition of approval to jet the existing pipes to confirm that there is no blockage.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you for your testimony. Do you want to have a closing statement?
At 10:30, no.
Okay, good. You didn't want one at 7:30 either, so it's okay. Or 6:30.
Or 6:30.
Yeah. Would anybody like to make a statement on the board?
I'll make a statement. I walk that area a lot, and I think I've seen the applicant over there too, a couple times with this Rivian. But yeah, it's a pretty good neighborhood, and I go up and down, and it'll definitely will enhance the neighborhood over there, because right now the house is kind of dark and dull. It'll be, brighten it up, so yeah, good. It'll make a big improvement. And with that, if you want, anybody else, I'll make the motion to approve. There you go.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Kenya
Yes.
and Mr. Horn.
Yes.
Ms. Khan votes yes. Mr. Shah?
Yes.
Ms. Marachi? And Mr. Khanna? Ms. Khanna, I'm so sorry. Yes.
It's late. It's really late.
Oh, my God, Mr. Khanna. And Mr. Beer?
Yes.
Okay.
say yes?
Motion carries.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone, for the night.
Thank you.
So we don't see you until next year now?
Oh, yeah. After what to do, it's like an every 2 week thing.
Before I make a motion to adjourn, I'd like to thank Sherry for her service. Thank you, Sherry, for your service. She'll be moving on. Motion to adjourn.